Attention Tribe. Ready to take charge of your future in the trucking industry? Ready to take charge of your future in the trucking industry? Join us for CMC Live at the Mid-America Trucking Show, March 26th and 27th in Louisville, Kentucky. Led by Kevin Rutherford, CMC Live delivers actionable insights and real-world solutions designed to help you transform your business. From cutting-edge strategies to hands-on advice, this is the event that puts you in the driver's seat of success.
Don't miss this life-changing experience. Don't miss this life-changing experience.
Be unstoppable.
CMC Live.
March 26th and 27th at the Mid-America Trucking Show in Louisville, Kentucky. Register now at truckingshow.com. Register now at truckingshow.com.
Your taxes, your truck, and your road to success in the trucking industry. This is Trucking Business and Beyond, the show that puts the money where it belongs, back in your pocket.
Good morning, you beautiful bunch of Fockers, and welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It is Monday, January 6th. We are here live. I've got my co-host, Brent Hutto from truckstop.com with me. In fact, let's just get him in here now and get started on things. Brent, good morning.
Good morning, Kevin Rutherford. How are you today?
Good, except Aaron just let me know that commercial we play on the video has some sort of weird echo. I'll have to work on that later. We played a CMC
commercial. Pretty good to me on my end.
Yeah, we have a great
Yeah.
video for the CMC, and which is what I want to talk about today. I actually have a ton of stuff I want to talk about today. So before we get to that, what's on your mind this morning?
Well, I'll tell you what's on my mind is 2025 and more optimism for a better year than 2024 and 2023, and just in, I guess, maybe Kevin, at the beginning of any new year, I'm a little more optimistic and just in general. And so it's good to see that there's more indications, and we'll talk a little bit about this in the data, more indications that the marketplace is going to be a better year for owner operators than it was last year. So that's a good thing.
Well, it's interesting that that's what was on your mind. You must be psychic. Is that the right word? Psychic. Yeah.
Well, I'm probably a little of both, psycho and psychic.
Because that was my theme for this morning.
Fantastic. Yeah.
For whatever reason, I know a lot of people, I can't say the whole country, a lot of people are far more optimistic about this year now and some changes. And that's certainly a part of it. But I think what's happened for me, I even hate to admit this, but I feel like the whole response to COVID, I'm not going to say COVID itself, but the whole response and everything we went through as a country and an industry and people put me in a total funk. I have not been myself the last couple of years, and I couldn't seem to break it. My habits were awful. I've talked about the fact that, for me to have a good, effective day, I need to get up early. Really early. Like my time is 4:30. If I can wake up without an alarm, somewhere between 4:30 and 5, be out of bed by 5, I just have fantastic days. I feel better. I'm far more effective. It gives me that quiet time to work on me, and work on the show and work on the business, a little of both. And I think what happened was I took time off during the holidays, but it wasn't like vacation time. I worked on myself. I worked on the business. I worked on the homestead. I enjoyed every minute of it. And I realized that I needed to get back to those habits. And I've said the first step for me is to be able to get up early. And my sleep was so messed up. It wasn't working. So I got my sleep fixed. It's not perfect now, but it is better than it's been in years, and it's improving a little bit each day. I'm really optimistic. I have some ideas to help other people with that now. I did a ton of research on sleep and stress, and what I found out was we don't know
Yeah.
much. We don't
We don't what?
really understand much about sleep at all.
Oh, I was going to bring that up too. Yeah.
I've read just about everything I can get my hands on, and I might write a book after this because I think I've figured out some breakthroughs on this. So I got my sleep fixed. I now am very consistent at being in bed somewhere between 9 and 10. Last night it was about 8:30.
Yeah.
It's a good time for me to do a little reading. Um, and then when I feel like it, drift off to sleep. And every morning I have woken up somewhere between 4:30 and 5 without an alarm. I'm out of bed by 5.
hmm
And the other thing that's tripped me up my whole life is that I'm never consistent because I hate routines. I hate repetition and I hate routines, right? You know me. You've been around me enough to
Yeah,
know
dude.
that, right? That's just it. It
Yeah,
doesn't work for me. And I just always thought, well, it's a discipline thing. Just be more disciplined.
it is.
And it doesn't
It is.
work for me. I've tried. It's kind of like I talked about how that book, um, the Strength book, really changed
Mhm.
everything in business for me because the whole point was focus on what you're really good at. And if you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
to, just
yeah.
ignore the rest. Find somebody to do
hmm
it if you can. If you can't, just ignore
Yeah,
it. And that changed our
yeah.
whole business. I mean, our business now is built, this might sound selfish, but our business is built around me being able to spend my day doing what makes me happy and what I'm good at. And that's my whole day now. And it's changed everything. So I had a breakthrough on this routine thing. All I, it seems so simple now. All
Which
I
is yeah.
needed to do was design a routine that isn't routine.
The anti-routine. I
Yeah.
love it.
So here's the thing.
Well, what'd you
Uh,
do?
Well,
What'd you do?
so I listed all of the things I should be doing. Those things we know make us better and make us happier and make us
Right.
healthier, but they're work.
Yep.
You got to do them. And I spent
Yeah.
2
Yeah.
years working on that stress routine, and it works. But I told everybody I'm not going to release this because even though each thing I figured out works, it didn't work overall to me because I can't stick to it. I keep trying, and then something gets in the way and I stop doing it. And then it takes me a while to get back to it
Right.
because I made it so regimented. You got to wake up at this time. You got to
Right.
spend 20 minutes doing this. Then after that, you got to spend 30 minutes doing this. That made me crazy. So now what I did was I just listed all of those things that I know I should do, like resistance training. That makes me feel so
Right.
good when I do it. It's like running for you. Resistance training
Oh
makes me
yeah.
feel amazing when I do it. The cold plunging, the red light therapy, the meditation, all of those things that I had built this routine around. I just listed them all out. Reading. Now I have a new one. We'll talk about this. Playing the
What you get?
piano or learning to play the
Oh goodness.
piano. Yeah,
Gonna
keyboard.
say yeah.
So I have a list of these things. And when I wake up in the morning, I lay in bed and I just pick. What do I want to do this morning? If I do 2 or 3 of
Right.
these things every morning and I just do what I feel like doing today, then it's not routine anymore. It's not this regimented,
Right.
scheduled thing where, oh, I really don't feel like, sweating in the infrared blanket this morning, but I do feel like a good workout would be great. Or maybe I just want to, do some meditation and red light therapy. So that was all it took. And so far, it's making all the difference because now, instead of thinking, "Oh, okay, I gotta get up," I wake up and look forward to it. What do I get to do this morning? Maybe I'll practice the keyboard for 45 minutes. What
Well,
do you
that's
th
you
what
know what you've done is you set in your mind that your goal is to have your, sounds like this is what it sounds like, that you know, and I know you, and look, a lot of us are this way. We like to choose our own what we want to do, and so when you feel like you have choice, then you're like, oh well, all the options are open to me in the world. So, man, I want to do this today. Well, yeah, well, if you put that on your like sort of list of things that you enjoy doing, then you feel like it's your choice instead of a requirement or a task you have to do that day. It's more, there's more joy built into it. And I you know, I've long felt that way. And your whole point when you said this a minute ago, you and I've talked about this before about look, this is how I tell my kids these things. I said, look, don't major on your minors.
Yeah.
In other words, be really great. Be great at what you're great at. Because if you're good, or if you go try to be good at things that you don't really care to do, or that you're not like, your brain doesn't like naturally gravitate towards, I want to go do that, you're just going to be average at it. And then who wants to be average? And let other people be great at it. You go be great at what you can be great at. I used to get in arguments all the time with the leadership at Truck Stop, because you know, different personalities like different things, and they always wanted me, and you and I've talked about this too, they always wanted me to give me more detail, give me more, like, put it in an outline, put it in a 10-page report. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. This is a good idea. This is why we should do it. You guys should know that. Let's move forward. I don't need to put a structure around it in order to go and do it. When I see the idea, I go, yes, that's a solid idea. We should go do that. And so to me, the guys used to, and most was just personality driven. It's whatever that you feel comfort in, and then you go seek it. And so it's amazing that what you can accomplish when you go and do the things that you are inherently want to do and that you're good at.
So, you know, I learned that lesson in business, but for some reason I didn't really transform that into my personal life of I hate routine. I'm bad at routine, but I can still have, I don't mind a time saying this is my time to do these things, but I get to choose every day what I want to do. And that so far it's been about 2 weeks, because I started it. This wasn't a New Year's resolution thing. I started it while I took that time off during the holiday. And not only is it working, it's getting better every day. And I'm happier with it. I look forward to it. I feel incredible because I'm doing all the things that make me feel incredible.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a big part of life. You talked about, you know, getting up and doing something really early in the morning. I mean, there's tons of studies that you can look at that, you know, when you put that extra hour or 2 hours in, and look, investing into the things that you want to do also helps you do the things that you have to do really well as well. So sometimes people go, well, you know, that's work, and this is my personal life. Well, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I have one life, and these are the things I'm doing at that time. And so what helps me be great at it? Well, when I am the most keenly astute in my brain, keenly capable in my body, then I can go and do whatever at the best of the ability that I have. And so that's why people always give me a hard time about, oh, you work out and you do this. Oh, you're just kind of crazy with the stuff. I'm going, no. I want my engine, the engine of me, working as well as possible. And when I'm healthy, guess what? I can put in a lot of hours, and I can see things through, and my brain is sharper, and I have more determination in doing things. And so usually you get all those things kind of going in a cycle, and it's hard not to find success in things.
Well, think about this. So things had gotten so bad for me. I was just kind of, you know, coasting. And I remember the first, the company was RPS at the time, became FedEx Ground now. When I started with them in a little terminal in Akron, the terminal manager, great guy, college football player, just really good at a lot of things, just a great guy. He had one of those big motivational posters from the 80s. Remember all those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he had one behind him in his office, and it said, "You only coast in one direction." And man, did that hit me hard. I thought, wow, yeah. And that's what I've been doing. I was coasting in one direction, and it was getting worse to the point where just a couple weeks ago, my normal wake up time turned into about 7:30, which means I barely had
Oh my
time
goodness.
to wake
Yeah.
up, make some coffee, get a little caffeine into me so I could think, and then start the show. And I wasn't as prepared for the show. I wasn't enjoying it as much.
Right.
So if we think about it now, I have added 3 hours of
Hmm.
productive time, and I'm focusing on the other stuff, not work. I'm not doing any work during that time other than maybe some show prep. So this is time to work on me. The seventh habit, sharpen the saw. 3 hours a
Right.
day.
Oh yeah.
That's if I don't do anything on the weekends, which we'll see. I'm enjoying this so much. I've been doing it on the weekends anyway because I stay consistent that way with my sleep time, and I'm looking forward to this. I tend to do more of the fun stuff on the weekends. Played more keyboard, that kind of thing, or got up early and
Hmm.
went out
Hmm.
to the homestead and worked out there, which is another change this year. That's 15 hours a week. That's a
That
lot
you're
of
putting into
time.
Homestead?
What's
Oh,
it?
you're talking about, yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah,
Well, here's the thing. There's only one thing in life that you don't get more of,
yeah.
and that's time. And those that can hack time, and what I mean by hack time is utilize it the best,
Yep.
are the ones that enjoy it the best. And I just as I was a younger, guy in this industry, and now that I'm a little bit older guy in this industry, the 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 statistics and the personal testimony you hear from people doesn't change. The people that are the most successful are the ones that get up early and they work on themselves some. They work on some things that they need to work on that are difficult to get to maybe during the day, and then they get to their work after that, and it makes them so much more productive because they're not in the middle of work thinking, "Oh, I got to get back to the other thing."
Right.
So there's
Right.
so many things. There's so many things that that we do to ourselves that hinder our ability to be great at what we love to do. And so don't do those things. I mean, you're right. Find a way to motivate yourself. If it's setting a mindset like Kevin Rufford, and you want to have that choice in the morning what you want to do. So there's a series of things you want to do, or if it's just, what, I have it on a list that I do this every morning, and I'm attentive to that list, and that list is important to me because some people a list is really important to them. They go, "Oh, I got to get the list done," so they go, "Oh, well, that motivates me to get up." And I'll tell you what, once you start that habit, it only takes a couple of weeks, just like you pointed out, and that's a scientific truism as well. It only takes a couple of weeks, but if you start getting up, you will get up every day. You won't need an alarm. Your body will just say, "Hey, it's time to get up and go do the things we want to do."
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's been happening. And then the other thing I decided, so here in the Pacific Northwest, we have the
Hmm.
most beautiful summers anywhere. Really, it's
Oh, for sure.
75 to
Hmm.
80 degrees, pure sunshine, and no humidity for somewhere between like 90 and 110 days straight every summer. It's
Hmm. That's
fantastic.
quite.
It's outdoor weather. So, but then we pay for it in the wintertime because then we get about 8 months of 36 degrees and drizzle all day long. It's
Right.
gray, it's cloudy, it's foggy, and I kind of get into a funk. The days are really short. I don't do much outside, and I thought, how do I fix this? And one of the
Right.
original plans was, well, when we got tired of it, Lisa and I would jump in the coach and go someplace where the sun's shining. But
Right.
that's kind of complicated. With the business, we have the warehouse here, we have the properties here. It's not, we could do it, it's not really practical. So I thought, well, we could do that for maybe a couple weeks or a month, go someplace in the coach. And, but I got thinking,
Hmm.
what else can I do? Then I thought, why not just go outside? Who cares if the weather's bad? So I
That's
started
true.
it over the break, and I get dressed in layers and I put on some rain gear. And the other day, probably the worst outdoor conditions you could imagine to try to work on stuff. It was 33
Right.
degrees and it couldn't decide whether it was going to rain or snow, but it did one of the two all day long. And yet, I
Wow.
probably worked outside that day a good solid 8 hours out at the homestead and got a
Wow.
ton of stuff done and I've been doing it almost every day now.
Well, and now going outside in that weather that used to be sort of unsavory for you, you kind of look forward to it,
I
don't you?
do.
You're like, oh, this is going to be great.
Yeah, I do. I'm outside. I'm averaging like 14,000 steps a day now because it's a big property, and
Wow.
if you do anything out there, you're just walking constantly. But
Right.
I put up a gate out at the end of the driveway. Something I'm not really good at that kind of stuff, but I'm learning now. And this over the weekend, I covered the entire 6 acres in internet. Some wired, some wireless, but so now I can go out there and work
Okay.
anywhere I want because I have internet all around the property and put up cameras because I have Wi-Fi everywhere. So now I have security cameras so I can keep an eye on the property when I'm not out there. And I'm just enjoying it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Kevin, here's what I'm thinking, because the same thing happened to me. Look, when I was before I started doing all that distance running and running thing, you couldn't get me out of bed early. There's no way. But if you're gonna do distance running, if you want to stay married and you want to stay being
Yeah,
a good
right.
dad for me, you got to do it when they're not awake, and so that means you got to get up really early. So there would be mornings we'd start at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. Most mornings we started
Yeah.
at 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the morning, so we could be back to our families and get our jobs started. But here's what it did, and this is what it did. I'm listening to you, and I know it did this to you, and it's continuing to do this to you because it does it to me too. It rewires your brain.
Yes.
Instead of you going, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. You go, hey, you know the end result, and the end result is very satisfying, and so that satisfaction drives you to have a better attitude towards getting up early and going and doing things. So really, it's just getting started on those things that you really enjoy to do, because it will eventually rewire your brain, because there's a payoff. There's a payoff of, oh, I got that done today. I mean, look just in the last minute, look at all the things you just did on the homestead.
Right.
I mean, you wired the whole place for Wi-Fi, and you put cameras up. I mean, that's a ton of work. But you're like, oh, just a normal day. Just got it done.
I can't wait to go back out and finish that one and start on another project. And I know. So here's the crazy part about all of this, and I know you'll understand
Okay.
this. We're talking a couple of weeks here, maybe 3 if I went back and looked at when I finally just woke up, made the decision, you got to get out of this funk, something's got to change. And I started thinking about it and working on it. I can't tell you how many big opportunities people are coming to me out of the woodwork. People I know in the industry that I haven't seen in 10 years, people who I have no idea who they are, but they are seeking me out and some big, really exciting projects I can't even talk about yet. But it was like a 180-degree shift. Now, how do you explain that?
Well, I don't believe in luck, because I think you make your own luck. I just believe in providence. I think that it's amazing how your life gets rewarded when you are purposeful and focused on the things that have a reward to you. And things just kind of continue to come at you and come to you. That's just been a trueness in my life. In my 57 years, I just see it happen over and over and over to me. And I'm like, I can't explain a lot of this. All I can say is I try to show up every day, do a good job, help other people, be a benefit to others. And it's amazing how things have worked out.
And Brent, I've spent a lot of time with you, and I've watched that in you over the years. You have been so consistent with this. You really have.
Well, thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
And you see the results. You see the results. You impact a lot of people around you with that.
Well, you do. You really do. And that makes life taste more fun. And your experience in life is more fun. So for me, I'm just going to try to keep showing up every day. I remember my old CEO, Mike Riley, used to say, he goes, it's amazing what happens when you just show up every day. And he was right.
Yeah. You know what?
Right. Just show up and do.
Let's make sure people understand what that means, though. That does not mean your body is physically in the building, right?
No, not at all.
Right.
It means that you are mentally ready. You're task prepared, and that you're physically ready, and that your attitude is in the right place, and all the things that go into you becoming a benefit for others. So it's not just, hey, I was there. It's no, you are prepared to be a benefit for others. And that's one of the things I've always appreciate about you is that no matter what, when you're there, you're always prepared to be a benefit for them. So it's a little surprising to me when you said that, you felt you're waking up later and you weren't as prepared as normal, or at least you didn't feel like you were, and that sort of thing, which is a big part of being good at what you do. You feel like you're prepared. You feel capable. That's a big part of it.
Well, and people around me or people that listen to the show or even people I work with may not have noticed it. I've been doing this long enough that I can kind of, what's the term, mail it in, or, I can kind of coast and get by. And, but I knew that I was not
Right.
performing anywhere near. I wasn't serving people the way I should be. I wasn't serving myself the way I should be. So I don't know if you can tell, I'm pretty excited about it.
I can tell. Well, you're feeling like you're contributing more. It's amazing. There's a great study by Malcolm Gladwell. I believe it's in the book David and Goliath, that talks about students in college that excel, and the difference between them. We're talking about, like, in the subgroup he was looking at were students that excelled regardless. In other words, they excelled in high school. They went to Ivy League schools. And what happens is that they would get in these Ivy League schools, and they would get into an ultimate competitive marketplace, where the difference between the first in the class and the last in the class might be 2 points. So the students that they're really competitive, that feel like they're really on top of their game, the ones that weren't at the top of the class felt like they were failing, even though they were still achieving at a super high level. But here's the thing. They felt like failures. And those students, Kevin, left those Ivy League schools and went to schools where they could be the number one in their class, because this is what Malcolm Gladwell found, is that the difference in being great at what you're doing and not great at what you're doing is a mindset. You and I talk about this all the time, about what's the mindset.
Right.
If your mindset is that you can do this, that you're capable, that you're confident that you can do it, it's amazing what comes out of it. But if you have doubt, when doubt creeps in, it is so destructive to your ability to be great at what you're doing. So it's just an amazing thing that confidence is so important. But that confidence comes with the repeated success over time of doing it. It's not just like I did it for 4 or 5 days. It's no, I've done it for 5 months or 5 years. And then it doesn't matter. You're going to be good at what you're doing because you have the confidence that you are good at it. And so that confidence is a difference maker in most people's lives. And I wish more young adults knew that they need to develop that confidence level. If they did, boy, would they achieve so many great things.
That's a great lesson and a great insight, and it's absolutely true. And I wrote down that book. I've read several of Malcolm Gladwell's books, but I haven't read that one. I gotta go back and look for that one.
It's absolutely one of my favorites. The premise of the book is it's David and Goliath. It's why does the underdog win?
Ooh, love that.
And it's so good. Well, it's the story of David and Goliath. Remember, David was this little 14, 15-year-old boy going up against this giant. Well, why did he win? And the story is so incredible. So I'm not going to ruin it for you.
Yeah, good.
And so if you get the book and read it, the underdog, when you really process it, may not be the underdog.
Ooh.
So
all right.
so you're gonna so it's by far one of my favorites. So certainly what's his first one? Golly, I'm drawing a blank on his first one. Tipping Point. Tipping Point was absolutely one of my favorites.
Me too.
And then there's a couple of them that are really great, but David and Goliath was my second favorite by far. I mean, just such good information.
All right. So now, do you want to take and turn this into a life lesson and then apply it to our business and our industry?
Sure. Jump in there. Let's go.
So, you've heard me say this, I don't know how many times, and I say this all the time, so I remind myself. The secret to success in business, right? I don't know why it's still a secret. And if you go on Amazon and search for secret to success in business, I think you get 7,000 hits or something. And yet nobody seems to know this. It really is serving your customer better than anybody else can, right? Or serving your customer to the best of your ability, right? And
absolutely. Isn't
that really the number one priority of business is to serve your customer. Now, in order to do that, you have to be profitable, because if you're not, you won't be in business and you won't be able to serve anybody. So we do need to focus on profit to make sure we can stay in business. But our ultimate focus and the ultimate goal of any business, I believe, is to serve others, your customers. But isn't that really the ultimate purpose of us on this planet? I mean, it's spiritual, it's practical. We are here to serve others.
Well, Kevin, and like I always like to use my short time on this planet as an example of that. I can tell you that when I've served others, by serving them, I've gotten everything I need.
Yes.
Notice I didn't say want.
Right.
Notice I didn't say want. I said need. It's by serving others. By serving, I want a lot of things, but by serving others, you get everything that you need, and it's an amazing thing. And I don't know if you remember this old sales guy a long time ago. It's one of the guys' books I read when I was really young. A guy named Zig Ziglar.
Oh, absolutely. I'll see you at the top.
Yeah. There you go.
That was one of his sayings.
One of his premises was if you'll serve enough people, you will have everything you need in life. And I fundamentally believe it. And I believe, here's the thing for me, and this is what I found. I don't know if you found this, but I found this, that serving somebody and helping them achieve the things that they need and want and desire in their life is a big payoff for me. And what I mean by payoff is, it's like currency. I mean, we get paid a dollar amount every week, right? Or we get, that sort of thing. We exchange cash value. But for me, part of the value of serving people is that it's like a currency to me. It makes me feel so good about myself and puts me in that mental state that I like to stay in. And so for me, living your life in service to others is one of the greatest things. And one thing that I love about trucking, because I watch these, especially independent truckers, I've watched them for over 25 years, really serve other people.
Absolutely.
They're really good at serving other people and sacrificing for them. I mean, I remember during the pandemic, I think it was 85% of truckers were concerned for their health. And then the second question was, are you taking work off because of it? And over 90% said absolutely not. They're still doing their job.
Right.
So an amazing thing. Yeah, an amazing thing.
So that's one of my favorite quotes, and I never remember it exactly, but I looked it up, and it's, you will get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. That's his quote.
There you go. That's it right there.
Yeah, and I love that one. And back to the idea of profit. We have to be profitable, or we can't stay in business. We can't serve anybody else. But as much as I'm a numbers guy, the profit is never the focus, because if you focus on serving others you do it right, the profit follows.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, look, as I famously said, Kevin, I need to get paid. If they stop paying me, I'll probably stop showing up. But that's not my focus.
Right.
It's never my focus. My focus is never, look at how much money I'm going to make. You can't have that your focus, because that is an appetite that's never fully satisfied.
Right.
It's just not. And so if you focus on that, then you're going to end up being really dissatisfied with it. And to me, I want to be satisfied with it. So when I see other people's lives fundamentally helped and fundamentally changed and fundamentally improved, man, I'm so happy about it. It's just like what I love. It's what I've loved for over 25 years working with you. It's like, I know that you're trying to help improve the lives of owner operators and small fleet owners. And man, I love that, because that's what I want to do too. And so it's one of those things where that payoff is so incredible. Helping others is so much more rewarding than money in the bank. And look, money in the bank's important. You can't help people unless you make a profit. Okay, it's important because you got to sustain the business. But it can't be the goal. The goal should be, how is whatever you're doing really fundamentally helping somebody? Yeah,
the profit is a side effect.
No, there you go. It's an output, right? Yeah, fantastic. It's a good way to put it. Yeah,
profit's a side effect, and your psychoness is coming out again, because that you just touched on where I want to go with this, and that's partnerships and relationships that allow you to serve your customer better, and that's one of the things that has just, exploded for me in the last couple of weeks. And I want to talk about the CMC, and we'll get to that. But I want to talk about this other concept first, and how I see it playing out in our industry right now, in an issue that is becoming way bigger than I ever thought it would be, and it's becoming way bigger than it should be, and too much of this industry is heading in the wrong direction. And I'm talking about this whole broker transparency thing. I thought this was going to be a blip on the radar and it would go away. Last year at the CMC, at Matt's, we got ambushed over this. And it hasn't gone away. In fact, OIDA, which I swear, I hate to keep talking about them, but I have to. I don't know how they've become so misguided about this stuff. They are holding a fireside chat to encourage owner-operators to get involved and push for this broker transparency thing. And if we take today's lesson and our mission here, our purpose in business and life is to serve others. And in business, it's to serve our customers. And what could be worse to do to your customer than to try to regulate them? We all hate regulation, owner-operators especially. And yet, as a big part of this industry is pushing hard to regulate our customers. And this isn't the first time OIDA has done this. In the 90s, remember they went through that whole, they were suing all the carriers over their lease agreements with their owner-operators. Remember all that? Well, if you're leased to a carrier, who is your customer? The carrier. Why did...
Sure, that's your customer.
So at least they're consistent, but their consistency has been, we're going to sue your customers, we're going to regulate your customers, and it's going to make your life better. That is, I couldn't think of a thing that is more misguided than that. It just kind of makes me crazy. We should be working on programs like you and I have, Broker Connect, those kind of things, to foster better relationships. That doesn't mean that all the brokers are doing everything they should be doing and they're perfect. They're not. There's a bunch of brokers out there I'd rather not see in the industry, but they're there. And all you need to do is figure out how to avoid them, find the right customers for you, and that's individual for everybody, and then realize they are your customers. And if you want to be happy and fulfilled and have a purpose and that profit will follow, you have to serve your customer. And the other lesson I would say is, if you don't like your customer enough to serve them well, then go find a new customer.
Yeah, it is a conundrum, this whole transparency thing, and then to me, it's one of those things where there's got to be a better solution to the whole process of this. It is a challenge. I guess from a standpoint of like the marketplace, I kind of see both sides. Although I think the regulation as it was set up just is setting the industry up for a disappointment across both sides, and I can understand why OIDA is kind of supporting things the way they are. But my thing is that what's the final result? What ends up with the final result? Does this end up helping owner operators? And I want it to help owner operators no matter what. And I'm sure that I know you want that. And you know that Truck Stop, we have a relationship with OIDA, and so I know they want that. It's just like, how do we figure all this out? That's what the conundrum is for me. It's like, gee whiz, there's got to be a better solution than the one that was built for a marketplace that doesn't exist anymore.
Well,
so it's just
Well, let's take another lesson we've all known our whole life, or we've all at least heard it, because even if we say that OIDA's intention is to help owner operators, I get that. I'm not saying that they're evil and that they're doing this to hurt owner operators. Their intention is to help, but what is the road to hell paved with? Right?
Good intentions. I've heard that said before.
Yeah. So you got to take a step back and just say, look, just doing something isn't right, and just doing something with good intention isn't right. You have to make sure, like you said, that the ultimate result of what we're doing is the outcome we seek. And I don't see in any way how this path that we're taking is going to lead to the outcome anybody wants.
Yeah, as I just look at the whole what the FMCSA has looked at and has tried to figure out what works. I don't, regardless of the visibility that you get downline as an owner operator to your broker, and then by the way, there's two parts of this. Are they going to avail all of their profit margins to the shipper as well? Because if you're talking about complete transparency across the board, then the person, in my opinion, and maybe I don't understand it well enough, but I think I do, is that the person who's going to suffer the most is the owner operator, because the profit is the profit. The broker is not going to change their profit on something, because, and this is something that goes back to the reality in this thing, is that there's some freight that the broker takes, they make no profit in.
Correct. Right.
And does this relationship go two ways? In other words, when our marketplace comes back to a capacity shortage again, and rates go from $2.40 of what they are now to $4.40,
right,
does that mean that the broker has the right to come back to the carrier and say, "Hey, you're getting too much profit"?
Exactly.
I mean,
right. That's not how business
just like you
works.
said, you and I've talked about this, and nobody wants the sort of the whiplash of the regulation on both ends, and so it's just going to be a struggle across the board. I just kind of continue to go back to it. It seems like the parties could get together and go, "Hey, what works?" Just like you and I talk about relationship. What works in this scenario that everybody feels like the marketplace is set up for everybody to fairly compete with each other? And so to me, that's the big part of it. And I just kind of look at it and go, man, golly, it's got to be a better solution.
Yeah, well, and here's what I think the solution is, and this is we're kind of going to wrap up the whole thing here and then apply it to the CMC. How's that?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
So again, we serve each other. I'm actually thinking about writing a book about this concept, really, and I take it all the way back because I do this with food all the time, and health, and I take it back
Right.
to our ancestral beginnings. You know, we did not eat food from a factory ever. There were no factories. We only ate food
never.
that existed in nature. We only ate food provided by God. Yeah, and we were healthy. And we were there's so many things we could go on, and I do all the time with health. But the other thing I've learned through all of this, and I've even talked about that show Alone, that human beings
love it.
cannot survive in the wild alone. They can't. It just does not work. We're not capable of doing that, and it's miserable. And I think that's why that drive to serve others is so strong. Except in today's world, it's been drowned out with technology and news and all this other stuff that we've lost that message of why the drive to serve others is so strong. Because if we go back to the ancestral, the tribal way of life, if you didn't serve others and have good partnerships and relationship, you would be banished from the tribe and you would die.
Right. Yeah.
That's a pretty strong motivation. That's still in us, but we've lost it. Most people have. And I want to kind of follow that concept through history to what happened. How did most people become so separate from that? And what kind of brought it to my mind is thinking about the CMC. By the way, if you weren't aware, this is going to be the best CMC ever this year. I am thoroughly convinced of it now.
Looking forward to it.
Last year for me was a huge learning experience, and I was in a funk. I wasn't doing the things I
You know what? That explains a lot. You were a little bit in a funk.
I was, and that was almost. I think I kind of bottomed out then because of all the stress and the pressure,
Right.
and not only was it doing the CMC, it was doing it a whole new way. I had to try to cram in my mind. I was, how do I cram 5 days of what I used to be really good at doing into a day and a half? But then I still have this
Right.
virtual thing going all year, and I just never put it together the way I should have. It was a huge learning experience for me. So now
Right.
I am
Right.
really excited about the CMC because I've got it clear in my mind now, and I've got great partnerships. Truck Stop brings so much to the table on this. Nastic is a big partner for us this year. That brings a lot to
Yeah.
the
Great.
table. And I'm really going to leverage all of my relationships and partnerships with Pittsburgh Power, Joel and Henry,
Yeah.
a couple of new companies that nobody's ever even heard the name of yet. That just within the last couple of weeks have approached me with. In fact, would you have time for a call after today's show?
Sure. Of course.
I want to talk to you about a company that approached me that I want to be cautious about because when I look at it on the surface, and I've done more than look in the surface, I've really tried to dig down to the couple of people in the company, but it's one of those
Right.
things that the potential of this for us and for our tribe and the people we serve is so big and
Oh,
exciting
wow.
that it almost sounds too good to be true, kind of thing. So I want to
Right.
make sure. So I'm reaching out to people that in the industry that I really respect and saying, hey, can you just help me look at this and make sure I'm not being blinded by the potential?
Right. Okay.
So all of that,
Yeah.
my focus right now with all the other things I've got going on, but my major focus is taking all of these relationships I have built over the years and really focusing it all on the CMC. And I'm gonna somebody on my team's probably listening, probably several somebodies. I'm gonna do one of those things that makes them crazy. I'm gonna throw out an idea that I haven't even talked to them about yet. And it's kind of a big thing. So I'm just warning people. This is only a thought in my head at this point. So don't get too crazy about this. Don't hold me to this.
Right.
Um, I don't feel like I, I don't feel like I've given the proper amount of value to the people in the CMC this year. Now, people have learned a ton of
Oh, well.
stuff. Most people
Okay.
are really happy with it. We've had a lot of good feedback. That doesn't mean I delivered the way I should have. And I know that.
Right.
And I think I'm going to make a really, really crazy offer to anybody who is in the CMC this year about continuing on into next year.
Look out.
Yeah, I know.
I like when Kevin makes crazy offers. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but I do have to talk to my team about this one. But I wanted to put it
Okay.
out there. So what else? Oh, I think that's it for my lesson. Looking at my notes, I think I covered just about everything I wanted to cover on that.
Okay.
So the couple other things personally, and then we will get to. You want to take some phone calls today?
Yeah, I can take a couple phone calls.
Okay.
Absolutely.
We haven't had a single call yet, so I hope that means people were just sitting back and listening because it was such captivating information. That's what I'm going to go with.
Right.
Phone lines are open. I'd love to hear your opinion on anything we talked about this morning, or if you have any questions whatsoever. We'll get to some numbers with you, Brent, some industry numbers.
Yeah,
That's one of the
absolutely.
things we're supposed to do on Mondays. But personally, I made a comment the other day on the air, and my wonderful wife was listening. I said that one of the things I've always wanted to do, as far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to learn how to play an
Mhm.
instrument. And my favorite instrument, my favorite music is piano. I love piano music.
Yeah.
And I was terrified to try. I just,
Oh,
I don't
me too.
I
Me
don't like
too.
failing
Yeah.
at things. When I try things, I want to be successful at them. And I was terrified that somehow this was something my brain would not be good at. As much as I love music, I couldn't imagine trying to learn how to read sheet music, and it would be really time consuming. And so I always just put it off. And I said that on the air. Lisa found the coolest keyboard system for teaching somebody how to play a keyboard that I have ever seen. It's called Rolly,
No way.
ROLI, and
Okay.
it turns everything. You can play Space Invaders on your keyboard, so you learn finger movement and all that kind of stuff, and
Yeah.
that it will teach you songs from really, really simple. The notes come down at you like Tetris in colors, and the key that you're supposed to hit lights up. So you just watch the kind of
Wow.
Tetris thing coming down, and then your key lights up and you start playing music. And it is, I know exactly what would have happened if I would have tried to learn piano the traditional way. You got to go learn sheet music. You got to play these scales. It would have been one of those things that I would have thought, all right, I got to go play the keyboard for 30 minutes. And until you can play music, it's no fun. With this,
Oh,
it's
for sure.
it's
Yeah.
the opposite. Once I start playing this, I'm like, okay, one more song, one more game, one more
No
exercise.
way.
Like, I was going to play till 6 o'clock, but you know what? I can keep going. I I had, I am having a ball with this thing. So is everybody else. My daughter Chelsea, every time she comes over, she's playing, so she's going to get one. Lisa, I don't know if she's going to be a prodigy or what, but she is and neither one of us have ever learned music or played an instrument, but she's about 10
Right.
times better on this keyboard already than I am. I mean, I've got to work at it, but it's fun. It's so much fun that I want to go work at it.
That's you know what? I tried to learn the guitar many years ago when I was about 35, and I was so frustrated because I could never make it make music.
Right.
And it's like,
Right.
oh, that's just so frustrating. Now, and my failure was not because the guitar can't make music. It was because I just wasn't diligent with practice. I wasn't
Correct.
diligent doing things because
Right.
I never really, did I really want to do it, or was it just kind of a romantic dream of like, oh, I would like to play the guitar. That would be really cool,
Right.
you know. But you know, I I hearing you talk about the piano is that's exciting because you know it's something that you always wanted to do, and you're making me want to. I've always wanted to play piano too because I think it's just so
Go
cool.
check this thing
But
out.
because every one of my kids can play it, they can all play the piano. We made them learn an instrument.
Here's
Now
the.
my son Jude was the only one. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, finish that.
No, my son Jude was the only one that went, I don't want to learn the piano. I hate this. How about the guitar? And now he's a fantastic guitarist.
That's awesome.
And
it's so good for your brain.
He accomplished what he needed to accomplish, right? Yeah.
Playing music is really, learning music especially, is really, really good for your brain. I can already tell. Here's the cool thing about this keyboard. The first piece you buy is a really small keyboard. It's got 24 keys on it. But then when you get good at this, you just buy another with 24 keys, and they just magnetically go together, and you can put 4 of them together to build a full keyboard. So the little one,
wow,
you could carry around in your backpack, and you put an iPad or your phone up there, and your phone runs the software of the iPad. You could take this with you when you travel and just practice anytime you felt like it.
Wow.
Cool. I mean, it's about the width of a lap. Oh, the other thing about it, I have like short fingers and small hands, and everybody says that makes playing piano really tough. These are resized keyboards, and they say it's more comfortable for everybody to play like this, unless you're probably used to the standard size. These are smaller keys, and everything's closer together.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, you should check it out. Rolly.
That sounds
ROLI. Rolly.com.
Yep.
It's very cool.
I look forward to looking at that.
The other thing we're having a lot of fun doing, my daughter Chelsea and I have done it twice now. Out on the homestead, we have a creek that runs about 8 months out of the year in the wintertime. And it is running heavy out there now because it snows like crazy out there. I was just saying how mild our winter is. It's 15 miles away, and there's snow on the ground almost all winter. And I went back through some of the records. They have received up to 6 feet there of snow. So it's been snowing a lot and then switching back and forth from snowing to raining. So the creek is just flowing like crazy. And when it gets that big, it actually is running under the back deck. So we've been out doing cold plunging in the creek.
Oh goodness!
In the creek,
in moving water.
Yeah.
In move, you know how it seems to amplify the cold when the water is moving. Oh my gosh!
You're
so cold.
Hey, you're doing your psycho thing again. That was my point. I've done the cold showers, which I've said are brutal until you get used to them. Then I love them. I've done cold plunging in a tub, which I like even better, but that's not easy. I mean, they make cold plunge tubs now, but they're several $1,000s, and I'm not going to spend that kind of money to get in cold water.
Nah.
What I didn't realize was the flowing water. Oh, Brent, you can watch the video. Lisa just sent it to you.
Okay.
So
I'll take a look.
Yeah, take a look. So the flowing water is like the wind chill effect.
I know it.
I did not realize how intense this was going to be. So getting in the water isn't all that different. You know, it's a little bit of a shock, and I'm already used to that. So that wasn't a big deal. And my goal was to stay in for 4 minutes, which I've done in the shower and I've done in a regular cold plunge tub. 4 minutes is where you get the maximum health benefit. Anything beyond that, Wim Hof he says it's just really, he stays longer, really just for mental toughness and to be, to become used to that. He said, but if you're just looking for the health benefits, 4 minutes is it. You don't need to do any more than that. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get in the creek and I'm going to do 4 minutes. About 30 seconds in, and the pain on my skin was so intense, I couldn't stand it. And I thought, why is this so hard? Then I realized, even in a cold plunge tub, as soon as you get in, your body heat starts to build a thermal barrier around you. But with that fast rushing water, oh, is that intense.
I just watched the video, and it looks uncomfortable. So who's the third person?
So it's my daughter Chelsea and her partner Leslie. So we all got. Now, if you notice, not to take anything away from what they did, because Leslie said she could have stayed the whole 4 minutes, and I thought I couldn't even make it a minute. They do have not really wetsuits on, but they had.
Oh yeah. You're in shorts. That's it.
I had bare skin, and I'm like, am I just a wuss or what? These two look like they could hang out in here, and I'm out of there. I thought, what is going on? And then I realized that intense cold water that never warms up on your skin is brutal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you I did some cold baths when I ran, because I'm telling you something. You go and do 15 or 20 miles, and all your joints are swollen and your muscles are aching and swollen. So you plunge in a cold bath. I did it for 10 minutes. That's just hips down, so it's not my chest, but you get your chest in cold water. It's a different experience. And it was remarkable with the effect. But I had to wear the Nike tight fitting, compression shorts. I had to wear those because I couldn't jump in naked. I just couldn't take it.
Well, you saw, I just had on a pair of, plain old swim trunk kind of stuff. Yeah. So it was, I can't even describe the sensation.
You look like you were heading for the beach.
Yeah, I know. And you notice Diesel wanders in and out of the picture there, and
I did, absolutely.
I'm so grateful for that property, though. It's what a cool experience to be able to do that in the creek like that. And then the outdoor shower, to come out of there and turn on a nice warm shower.
Oh, I bet that felt nice. Yeah.
Oh, it was incredible. So we decided
Well, I've got
to make that a regular thing throughout the winter. At least every Sunday we're going to go out there, because I'll probably be out there every weekend anyway, and we're going to make this a weekly habit.
Right. Wow. Okay. Well, that sounds like a winner, man. That's cold. But you will get used to it. I mean,
yeah.
But I don't know anybody gets in move. I don't know. I've seen a lot of people cold plunge. I don't know anybody that gets into moving water. Because you're right. That's like when you're out running. If it's 30 degrees out and you've got a 10 or 15 mile an hour wind that's coming at you, it doesn't feel like 30. It feels like about 20.
Yeah.
So it's really cold.
Yeah.
Your chin gets super cold. Your fingers will get so cold. Your thumbs get very cold, even though you've got gloves on.
Right.
When we used to run, when the wind would be coming at us, we had these undershirts that had like collars on, like a mock collar that you pull up over your chin. If not, your chin just froze, because the moisture that comes out of your mouth is 98 degrees, and it goes down on your chin, which means there's moisture on your chin, and your chin gets frozen.
Right.
So man, crazy stuff though. Crazy stuff.
It never dawned on me that fast. And if you notice in that video, when I went into the deep part and kind of squatted down so it was up to my shoulders, I got sent downstream. I had to fight to get back.
Yeah, no, you were kind of resisting. I saw that. You were kind of resisting the water, which is worse.
Yeah. So I thought, why can't I do this? I can't even make it a minute. The pain is so intense.
That's super funny, man. Super funny. Well, I'm glad that you're doing it. It's cool. I mean, here's the thing: you're also training yourself to just go do hard things.
That's it. That's a good point.
If it's hard, just go do it. Yep. You're going to be, if you just face hard things, boy, it's amazing how life is not near as hard as you think it is. But just face that hard thing.
We are so mentally connected this morning. You're writing my script for me. And I forgot this when I didn't have a note.
Well,
as Chelsea and I were
we have been friends for a long time.
Yeah, as Chelsea and I were heading out to do this the first time, I said, Chelsea, we're going to go do this. I said, I've got a life lesson here. Because like you, I like to share this kind of stuff with my kids. And she said, what's that? And I said, you've been dreading this, haven't you? And she said, well, not really dreading it, but anticipating how, it's going to hurt. And, can I really do this? And I said, I know. And I've heard it. And I said, here's the thing.
Right.
I said, we've been talking about this for about a week now. And you've been anticipating and dreading how hard this is going to be. And I said, there's nothing you can think about that will change this. Nothing.
Right.
If you're going to do it, thinking about it isn't going to make it any better. In fact, it's making you worse. You're anticipating that it's going to be so hard. I said, try to put it out of your mind, because here's the thing. You've spent probably by now hours thinking about something you can't really change. You want to go do it. The act of doing it is going to be less than 1 minute. And afterwards, I promise you, you are going to be so glad you did this. You're going to feel physically good, but you're going to feel mentally good because you did it. I said, so try, and I know it's not easy, but try to just put it out of your mind. Don't even think about it. We're just going to go do it. That's 1 minute. Yep. And then look at all the benefits we'll get out of it, but don't let it take over your thoughts, and then apply that to all the hard stuff in your life. Don't overthink this stuff. Just decide that you're going to go do something hard, then put it out of your mind until it's time to do it, and enjoy all the benefits.
Yeah, it's rarely as hard as you think it is. I mean, I would have never, ever, ever thought I could have run 20 miles, much less 26.2.
Yeah.
And you know what? You just start a little bit at a time. Next thing I knew, I'd run a marathon. I didn't make the time I wanted the first time, so I had to run another one. And then I ran, 8 more.
Yeah.
So I ran 10 total marathons in a decade. It was, and now I look at it and go, here's the thing, and this is the thing that I think this is another one of the life lessons, which is, when you do those really hard things that you think are hard, you realize that you are much more capable than you ever consider yourself to be.
Absolutely.
You really have a lot more capability. I mean, so much more capability. And so to me, that's been the benefit of marathoning it. Look, no one was paying me to run. So, I mean, why would I do it? Except the fact that it just made, just made me stronger, which was, oh, wow. Well, that's what I want to be, is stronger, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And why do we want to be stronger? Because it allows us to serve others better.
Absolutely. Yeah. Perform better, serve others better, and enjoy life more, without a doubt.
All right. So what do you got for numbers? And then we've got a couple phone calls to get to.
Yeah. Let's talk about that really quick. Okay. So you and I have been, and I've been saying this for about the last 3 months, that the spot market and the overall market is beginning to shift back towards a more positive marketplace for large carriers, small carriers, and owner operators. And some data that I was just looking at on hours. Now, I've been watching it week to week on the truck stop data, and we've kind of hit this bottom for rates, and in the last few weeks, not few weeks, but in the last 3 months, we've seen this continued sort of increase year over year in rates. So, and that's what you want to look at is the marketplace. You can see shifts year over year, because in the spot market, you don't want to look. You want to look at 5 years back for a basis, but you don't want to look at it because that's not the market you live in. You live in the market that's year over year. And for the last 23 straight weeks, we've had rates over the previous year. Now I also got this confirmed. I was watching some information on Freight Waves, and Craig Fuller and Zach Strickland were doing a little end of the year update, and they were talking about spot rates. They talked about contract rates have been coming up, but they fundamentally said spot rates during the year have increased 16% over the previous year. That's a good increase. Not 2% or 3%. 16% is a quantifiable increase, and that's even considering that fuel has continued to come back down. So if fuel would have stayed up, then the rates would have been even higher. But my point about the whole thing is that the marketplace continues to pivot to more health for owner operators. Now, during the holiday time, you and I've talked about this. The rates in the holiday market are always better. When you look at the rates in the market, they're about 234 overall. But let me pull up some individuals here. When you look at van since in the last 3 weeks has gone from $2.04 to $2.18. Now these are the posted rates. The carriers should be negotiating a higher rate in this thing, especially in certain marketplaces, because there's a lot better rates across the country, depending on the market that you're in. If you look at flatbeds kind of stayed the same between 223 and 225. 226 has kind of been the same for the last 4 weeks. But the crazy one that's changed a bunch has been refrigerated. 3 weeks ago, it was $2.34. Well, last week it was $2.71.
Wow.
That's a remarkable difference.
That is.
Yeah. Remarkable difference in rates. And I think the overall thing that I would want owner operators to take away from this thing is that the marketplace continues to improve for you on the rates, right? Freight availability is normal. It's been normal for the last, 2 years.
Yeah.
And so they got plenty of freight out there to move, but the rates have now started to move back. We've had some seasonality. In other words, it's gone down when it's supposed to go down. It's gone up when it's supposed to go up. And that's what seasonality means. Is it behaving normally at certain times of the year? But with overall, for owner operators, rates have continued to pivot more positively towards owner operators. And that's why I'm really, 2025 will be the correction year, will be the complete correction year. So it'll come back to more profitability for owner operators. 2026 is predicted to be, now I realize that's 12 months off, and it's easy to say something 12 months off, but 2026 is predicted to be a better, much better market for all parts of the market, especially owner operators.
That's exciting. I wonder why we're also optimistic.
It is real exciting, yeah.
Yeah. Love that.
Well, I see the data, Kevin, every day. And I've just watched the year over year. And look, shippers and brokers can't marginalize the owner operator. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that from a rate standpoint. They can't offer the rates that they used to offer because the marketplace is going to shift back towards more positive towards owner operators and small fleet owners, because it has to.
Yeah.
Because it's the balance in the market. And you just watch the balance come back. And and to know that owner operators are going to get fundamentally a better payoff for their time is encouraging to me. And it kind of comes back to that whole thing. Look, if you had great relationships with every broker or every shipper that you did business with, I guarantee you're getting a ton better rates than this. Guarantee you, because you're going to be more trusted. It's going to be a faster transaction. But if you're just in the marketplace playing 30 or 40 brokers a year, then it's really hard to get the best rate for your operation.
Absolutely. All right, good stuff. One more thing, and then we're going to get some calls. We've got calls lining up.
Let's do it.
I know that your podcast, you've had
Yes, sir.
you had Ilya on your podcast, didn't you?
I did. Boy, was it fun to talk to Ilya. I also had a Kevin Rutherford. We just posted his time on the podcast, and it's doing really, really well for some crazy reason. I can't imagine why.
Imagine that. Yeah, I saw it on LinkedIn. It was doing pretty good on LinkedIn. I've got Ilya coming on because I'm looking forward to having him. Because
good.
Yeah, he was great on your podcast. I've got another potential guest for you too.
I'd love to have it. Yeah, who is it?
Yeah, so Ted Johnson. I'll tell you Ted's story.
Okay.
So Ted's coming on my show, and the reason is Ted's had a couple of rough years. And he said, things are starting to look up. We've turned this around. We survived. And he had an invitation to do a podcast somewhere. And he said, I think I might want to do some more of this. So I thought, well, shoot, I'm going to have him on my show. And then I thought he'd be great on your show. Here's his story. Ted still is, the youngest person ever to go through the CMC. In fact, when he went through the CMC and we had a reception that night, he had to give away his drink tickets because he wasn't old enough to drink.
You're kidding me.
He was I think he was 19. He went 2 years. I think it was 13 and 14 or 14 and 15. It was right around that time. He was 18 or 19 when he went the first time, I think.
Right.
And then he went out and built a very successful small fleet, office, staff, the whole shot, just an incredible operation. And he got caught with some bad timing in the downturn. And I was a little worried about him for a while. He was posting some stuff and I was kind of watching him, and I was thinking about reaching out and helping. And I thought, you know what? I think he's got this. I think he can do this, and he did.
Right.
And he just posted the other day that things are starting to turn around, and he's feeling like he's got some breathing room. So I think he's got a great story for your podcast.
Oh man, I'd love to talk to him. I think it'd be great. I mean, the life lessons are the best ones. I mean, it's just always somebody that's teaching a life lesson through this, because you're going to have ups and downs in your business, and if things catch you off guard, this is why, Kevin, the reason that I love talking about the numbers is because I want every owner operator and every small fleet owner to be prepared for what's coming at them. Because if you're prepared for what's coming at you, it doesn't knock you down. It may hinder you a little bit. It may slow down your progress, but it doesn't knock you down. It's the people that are not looking at the industry, not looking at the numbers, not looking at the indicators, that get blindsided.
Right.
By marketplaces. And when you get blindsided, it's like a crackback block in football.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah.
Because you never see it coming. You never see it coming.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I thought we talk about this all the time. We just want owner operators to know what's going on.
So I'm going to throw out a little teaser, and then we're going to get to calls. You were with me the first time I stood up on stage and asked how many owner operators in the audience had an accounting system where they could look at a report at least monthly to see how well their business was doing. Right? You were there.
Right.
That's and the number was about 5%. And I pushed. I didn't just ask the question and then move on. I asked the question and I said, look, I'm not going to call on you. I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I really want to know this number. So I want you to put your hand up and hold it up and let me get an idea. And it was about 5%.
Right.
And it was my goal to get that number up. And that's why I wrote the software program, Profit Gauges. We made it so simple. I thought everybody would want to do it. I still don't think we're anywhere near 10%. I just don't think we moved the needle on that number at all. And we don't have nearly as many Profit Gauges members as we should have based on the price and the value and how, and we know the people that do this have better businesses and they grow their business. We know it. And that's why I try so hard to get people to do this, but I kind of gave up because it just wasn't working. And I get it. These guys don't like paperwork. That they're busy, they work, just driving 60 hours a week, then you throw in all the other stuff they have to do and all the sacrifices. They just don't want to do paperwork. I get it.
Right.
What if there was a version of Profit Gauges that did somewhere between 95 and potentially even 100% of the work for you?
That'd be powerful.
That might be what could come out of one of these new partnerships.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Nope.
Wow. That's impressive.
That's why I think it's so big.
Right. Wow. Well, I'm excited to talk to you again later today. That'd be great.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to some phone calls. We're going to start at the top of the board. Chuck in Florida, what's on your mind today?
Hi, Kevin. And Brett, right? Or Brent?
Brent.
Hey,
Yeah.
Chuck. Yeah, Brent. That's right, Chuck.
Brent. All right. Kevin, it's $2 a mile, Chuck.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
been a little while since I've called in.
Yeah. Hey, Brent, you've heard of $2 Chuck, right?
I've heard of $2 Chuck. I think that's a Trader Joe's thing, isn't it?
It is. It is. We have $2 Chuck on the line with us.
There you go, right there.
Yeah. Well, I've been working hard on that. I ended last year at 24. I ended it at $1.60 a mile overhead.
Okay.
59 cents a mile profit. 23 ended in $1.75 a mile overhead with 61 cents a mile profit.
Got it. Here's somebody that knows their numbers.
Yeah, this is great. So your $1.69, Chuck, was 2022, you said?
23 was 175 with 61 cents.
Right.
Profit. 24 was $1.60 with 69 cents a mile profit.
Okay, $1.60. All right.
Yeah. All right.
Right. 22, I can look up 22 right quick. If you give me a second. That was 201 a mile overhead with 92 cents a mile profit.
That sounds about right. You've followed the market pretty closely there.
Well, I'm using Profit Gauges. So.
Well, imagine that.
That helps a lot. I have from day one since I even started being an owner operator 5 years ago.
Outstanding.
But anyhow,
thank you.
on the broker thing.
Yeah.
I'm leased to a company, and with the contract that I'm under, I will just use $2 a mile. They book a load for $2 a mile. I only get 81% of that $2 a mile.
Right.
So, but here's the other thing that's been going on. Sometime in 23, I think it happened, our DOT number got hijacked and somebody stole a load, and now there's a red flag on it. So yeah, when you call, and I'm allowed to be on the broker board to look for loads, and when you call and they see that, they go, they come up with whatever excuse they want to come up with, or sorry, we can't work with you. Some of them are outright, sorry, we can't work with you. Yeah. So how do we get over that?
Let me ask you something that maybe we don't need to get over that with the company in the middle. Have you considered getting your own authority?
I have considered that.
So that's really what the CMC this year was designed for. And like I said, I didn't pull it. It's hard for me to say that, but I didn't pull it off the way I wanted to at all. That is the whole goal. And the reason that I changed was because the entire market has changed. Brent, would you agree with that? I mean, getting your own authority today is nothing like doing it just 5 years ago. The market has shifted. The technology has shifted. I think that this is the future. I think if owner operators are smart, fleets are going to start struggling to contract with them, because I think the smart ones now are going to look at the market, the technology, and everything we can teach in the CMC and say, Why would I be on the board looking for freight, dealing with the problems that really were created by this carrier, and I still have to give up 19% of the load to the carrier? You're doing most of the work of having your own authority, and you could be getting not 100%, because we're going to give up something to the broker, but the broker typically is taking 10 to 14%. So that adds to your margin. And in today's world and the system we're building right now, it won't be more work at all. It'll be about the same amount of work with a lot more opportunity and more profit.
Agreed.
Now, if you decide to stay with the carrier, Brent, do you have any ideas on how he overcomes the issue that if his carrier starts having these fraud problems and the broker won't work with him, it's affecting him?
Yeah, I need a little clarity here, Chuck. Help me out. So you said you're leased to a carrier presently.
Correct.
Okay, so
Hey.
So
Chuck, I hate to interrupt, Brent, but I just had another thought. Chuck, not only are you giving up the 19% to your carrier, you're doing the work to go find the freight. They're pulling the same freight you would. It isn't like they've got all this, and maybe they have some, but if you're on the board, what that tells me is your carrier does not have a lot of customer direct freight, and they're just pulling broker freight like you could be doing.
There's lots of times I'm doing direct customer freight out from base, but then spot market back.
Yeah, and when you look at a carrier like Landstar.
I got it.
I had a feeling that's what was.
It's your backhaul.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And I am also working with a dispatcher too. That's also helping look for freight.
Well,
okay. Oh, well, so you're giving up profit to a dispatcher too.
There are
in a way, yeah.
There are tools at Truck Stop that replace a dispatcher pretty easily.
Oh, yeah, I haven't discovered them.
Yeah. Brent, you guys have all kinds of tools like that, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can look at any lane and understand the dynamics in a lane just by looking at the lane, the load, what am I drawing a blank here all of a sudden?
And
the dashboard when a load comes up. Now, if there's certain customers that this dispatcher allows you to work with and you can keep your profitability high enough, then maybe that makes sense. But I'm not 100% against dispatchers. I just like, don't give away money unless you have to. And so is my question before I jump into what you can do on Truck Stop is, let me understand this, because I want to try to solve its first problem first, Kevin. So what you're saying is that when you get freight from the one you're leased onto and you go out, you're getting the load back. So they allow you to go out to the load boards and find spot freight to bring back to wherever you're hauling for that carrier, right?
Yeah, or go wherever. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, or any point, sure. So, I mean, what you're saying is that because you had your identity kind of hacked, you are having some struggles with different brokers because they use some technology that says, oh, well, you've had your identity hacked. We can't use you because there's a issue with your data. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So have you do you use Truck Stop and use DAT? I mean, what load board or load boards are you using?
Truck Stop is the only one I'm using.
Okay. Well, after we get off, make sure that the team gets me your phone number, and there's ways in which you can help repair what you've got within Truck Stop. In other words, that you're seen as still a quality carrier. We even have a product that allows us to evaluate you and to show your validity in the market, Chuck. So we can help you with that across the board. And there's other technologies out there that can help you do the same thing. Sometimes sometimes it's just could be a little bit challenging just to get to them, to get them to change the data within their system. But we can actually absolutely help you with that. So make sure that I get your phone number and get you into with our team that can help you repair that sort of data incongruence inside of the systems. Because what it is that you've just got somebody using the piece of technology and they're seeing a problem with your data a while back, and they can't correct it because they don't know how to correct it, and you just need to be able to correct it yourself. So we can help you with that. Absolutely. Now, to Kevin's point about, does that make sense to you, Chuck?
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Okay.
But yet I'm under, completely their DOT number, their insurance. So, and that's what I'm trying to pinch pennies enough to be able to go ahead and get my own authority eventually. And
well, how does if you're under your lease carrier's DOT authority, which makes sense, you're a lease owner operator, how is it that how did you get your identity stolen and that reflects on them?
He didn't, Brent.
Their identity.
The carrier did.
Oh, they got theirs stolen.
So
yes.
When he tries to go on the board and book a load, he has to book it through their authority, and they're the one with the problem.
Correct.
Got it. I got it now. Yep. I got it now.
Yep.
Okay.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, I'm gonna assume that the company you're working with is a customer truck stop, and that's why we can help them as well. So, because it's both sides. You're right. It is both sides. So, just get them to give me your number afterwards. We can talk after this, and let me see if Truck Stop can help you solve the problem.
Right. That'd be awesome. Because
sure.
I know they use Truck Stop and also that, but I like Truck Stop over that anyhow. So
good.
Appreciate you saying that.
It's just been, especially this last year, it's been a hindrance for sure.
Yeah, it's been a big issue,
and it's aggravating.
Yeah,
that's all.
It is. All right, Chuck. So what I'm going to do?
But
go ahead.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, but if I find the load, I get an additional 4% on top of that. But I'm still giving up, like you said, 15%. If they find the load, then it's 19. Yeah, then I'm giving
that
up
helps. I like that they're paying you for the work you're doing. And here's another chance, because as of right now, they're still your customer. Here's another chance to help your customer. You made the call. You made the connection with Brent. Brent says we can probably fix this. So that's value added to your customer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Perfect.
And they've been in business going on 22 years now.
Yeah.
This year.
Well,
so.
Yeah, this is new for everybody. This whole freight fraud thing is kind of came out of nowhere, and it's affecting a lot of people. A lot of people don't know what to do. You did the right thing. You reached out to the people that know, and you asked. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put you back in the queue. And Angie, if you could grab his. Did I put him in? Yeah, I did. Whew, I thought I hung up on him. Angie, if you could grab his information and pass it along to Brent, and we will grab another. You still okay on time, Brent? So I know we're going long.
Yeah, I got time for one more. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, got time for one more.
Let's go to Indiana. Jeff, what's on your mind today?
Yeah, what you were talking about earlier kind of affected me about 2.5 years ago. I was in a funk on my own, and I think I just woke up one day and said, pull your head out of your ass, look around, and
well said.
and just pay attention, you dumbass.
I know.
You're doing this to yourself. So
yeah.
I got out of that. I started socializing more, volunteering more, helping out with neighborhood things and some of the other things in our town. And my attitude got better. My business, we just hit our largest sales year ever here in my business in 24.
Congratulations.
And the opportunities, and then the people you meet when you're out volunteering, because those guys that are other business owners that, you can work for them, they can work for you, you help each other, and then you meet another guy, and you make relationships, and it's just kind of, like I said, it just really pulled my head out of my own ass. And you can see so much clearer when you're not hooking up your butt.
Well, here, here's really, so you also get out of your own head and stop feeling sorry for yourself. And I turned the focus back on, how do I get back to serving others better, because I'm not being very effective right now. And that changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I have a lot to give and to help and to help other people that someday they, and I was kind of, I don't know, you want to say, hoarding that myself, and that's not good. You need to spread it out and help other people and give them a hand up, not a handout.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Right. Good stuff.
Well, so it's a giant, Jeff, it's a giant industry. Last time I checked, it's over $1 trillion. There's lots of opportunities for everybody to succeed. And here's what's interesting, Jeff. I've been, I go to a lot of trade shows, and I talk to all these really big fleet owners and big brokerage owners. You'd be surprised. They're all friends with each other. Even though they compete in a lot of areas, they all help each other. So, it goes back to your point. When you really start helping each other, you end up finding more success. It's kind of crazy how it happens that way.
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. It's like all these opportunities start coming, and I'm like, where the hell was all this before? And I go, it was there. I never saw it or took advantage of it because, who knows? But yeah, so just get up, look around, help other people, and it'll come back to you.
Perfect. Love it.
Karma can be a bitch, or karma can be helpful.
There you go.
Have a great day.
All right. Good stuff.
All right, Jeff. Thank you.
Brett, we had another call, and it was for both of us. Maybe
let's do it.
Yeah. Well,
let's do it. That was a short one. We can do it. Let's go for it.
I thought so too, but he might have heard us and he hung up, or he lost his call. One of the two. So I'm going to let you go because I know you've got to get on with your day.
Okay.
If you have some time, anytime, give me a call because I'd like to talk to you about that when you've got some time.
I'll do it late afternoon. I'll give you a buzz.
That'll work. I'm going to hang out for just another minute or two and see if we get a couple calls coming in. And if not, I'll wrap this up and I'll go work on some exciting things I have to work on.
There you go.
So,
all right, pal.
Brent, looking forward to a fantastic year, a fantastic CMC. We'll be talking a lot more about that. And just thank you for your friendship and your partnership and everything we're doing together.
Well, man, I love it. I just want to do more of it, and I'm just glad that I get to do it with you, pal. It's been a great ride so far. I just want to keep doing it. So thank you, man. All
right. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Yes, sir. Bye.
All right. And it looks like we do have some calls coming in, so I'll grab one. Tim, welcome.
Hey, guys. Hey, I got a question for Brent.
He just left us.
Oh,
I'll try to.
Did he leave already? Doggone it! I lost signal, and then I was the one that had the question about the third-party verification site called Highway, and what they're doing. Are you there yet?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. And what this third-party verification site? If you set up with a broker, now I know Truck Stop is real big about RMIS and carrier packets and using that. These brokers can use these subscription to set up with like for me as a truck owner, I can set up with them. And about 8 months ago, this third-party verification site, or not site, the third-party verification people, they showed up and they're called Highway. And a lot of companies are switching over to them. For one, I think their subscription is cheaper to do this. And the problem that I run into, I drive a 94 Pete, so I'm E-log exempt. Well, Highway wants access to your E-logs. And I don't have E-logs, so therefore there's some of these companies that I was set up with before they switched to this Highway that I cannot set up with them for that simple reason, because I don't have E-logs, and I wouldn't, if I did have E-logs, I wouldn't give a third-party verification site access to it. And I was wondering if Truck Stop ran into that
In what way? I don't think that Truck Stop is working with this company yet. I think TIA might be. I know some of the factoring companies are. They do integrate with a lot of the TMSs, but almost all of these TMSs are the bigger carrier kind of stuff. This can't give too much away yet, but this trend you're seeing is going to get bigger. And what I mean by this trend, the trend is going to be you will be able to do a lot of things as a small carrier that only big carriers have had access to, but you're going to have to do the same thing the big carriers do and the big brokerages, and you're going to have to share data. Let's talk about the ELD data. If you had it and you verified that the company you are working with is legitimate and there's a reason to do it, why would you hesitate to share that data?
Well, see, but the thing of it is, it's not the company that wants the data. It's Highway that wants the data. The company don't care if you have e-logs or not. It's Highway.
No, I understand who wants it. There's a benefit to sharing it. We're eliminating fraud, which is good for you. It's good for your customers. It's good for the industry. Fraud is one of our biggest problems right now. And we have some ways to eliminate fraud too. Stick with 3 to 5 good brokers and build a relationship, and fraud won't become a problem. But then when you need another load somewhere, many of these companies are saying, look, we just can't risk this anymore. So part of what we're putting together involves data sharing like this. It's going to become a necessity. Or you can say, look, I don't want to be a part of that. I'm going to go do my own thing, and I'll figure it out, and you can. Or you could say, look, we live in a world now driven by data, and there could be some big advantages to this. And as long as we protect from the downside, there were people when we first brought out fuel gauges, and I said, everybody gets to see everybody else's fuel tickets and their fuel mileage. And people freaked out. And I said, why are you worried about this? It's random data. It's not your social security number. There's nothing in this data that anybody could use to hurt you in any way. And today's technology, the single biggest factor that these companies are spending money on, including ourselves, is securing that data so you can share it without being hurt.
Right, and I understand that part of it. But the part about Highway that bothers me is that I've had I've been set up with companies. You said use your 5, 6 good brokers, and I've had that. But some of those brokers that I have used, I've set up with them back when you needed a fax machine to do it. That's how long it's been. These same companies, now that they went to this Highway thing, they will not accept me. They will not, because I know these people personally, and they're like, Tim, we just can't use you.
Tim, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Is one of the things I try to help people with in business is you can't fight against reality. You can say it's wrong. You can say, I don't like it. You can say this doesn't work for me, but you can't fight the reality. And that's what you're facing. Even with those long partnerships, good partnerships, these companies are saying, sorry, there are other carriers we can use, and we have to move forward in this. We don't want to get left behind. And it's got to tell you now. Look, I am not talking about Highway specifically here. I know nothing about this company other than what I just looked up, and I've come across them a little bit before, but I didn't put any time into looking at them. There's dozens and dozens of these kinds of companies now, because freight fraud is such a big deal, and there is so much to lose that companies are saying, look, even a strong partnership, we can't risk this. We can't let one carrier take our business down. And that's the world we live in. That's the reality. So don't fight the reality. Just say, look, it's the reality. I'm either going to continue doing what I do and I'll figure out a way around all this, or I'll research this. And that's part of what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to find partners in this space that we're talking about, because this technology that allows these things to happen is brand new. That this is all being rolled out as we speak. It's a whole new world in freight right now.
And I agree with that.
So I'm not telling you which way is right or wrong. You have to decide that for your business, but don't fight against reality. The reality is, even your strong relationships are saying, sorry, we can't move forward like that. There's too much risk.
Right. And now, and that being said, I mean, there are companies that, even though they use highway verification site, when I tell them, like, hey, I got a 94 feet, I don't have e-logs, they're like, okay, just send in or fill out the information, we'll override it. So there are some that do it,
right?
But some of the bigger ones, man, they don't do it at all.
No, they won't. And eventually the medium size and small won't either. But if you can continue operating this way and it's working out okay for you, then that's still an option for you. But I've done a deep dive into this, again, not this company, but do you remember when I think it was around 17 or 18, everybody was talking about blockchain?
Yes, yeah.
And I came on the air and I said, I don't get it. I've tried to research it. This is not clicking in my head. I understand how the technology works, sort of, but I don't see the practical application for anybody in my tribe. And then after about 2 years of it, I realized there's no practical application for anybody in this yet, not in trucking that I can see. That's what has just recently changed. And the change was AI. Blockchain was powerful, but it was missing something. It was too complicated to put into use. Nobody understood it. It was labor intensive to try to set things up. AI has changed all of that, and that's really recent. So this, I believe, is the next big thing in transportation, probably every other industry too, but I don't care about them. Most of this stuff is now being built on a combination of blockchain and AI, and it's going to change everything. And we're right there in the beginning. That's why I'm kind of excited that this company actually reached out to me. It's not what we're talking about here. It's not around freight fraud or anything like that. But what we are exploring is built on blockchain and AI, and it brings up possibilities that never existed before. But it will require data sharing.
Yeah, I know. I only got about 5 more years to have to do this. So I'm hoping to just get through it before the end of the world,
Then you'll be able to. If you want to keep operating. Now, it may require you a little more work. You're going to have to fill out a couple more forms. You may have to, verify more things, and you may have to find some new partners. But I don't see any reason why you couldn't keep doing this for 5 more years.
Right. Now, one of the things that they will require, if a company wants to override it, they want a copy of your title, they want a copy of your license, and they want a copy of your registration, which I think that's a little bit of overstep on privacy.
I agree. And now, see, they wanted less data if you will just get involved with the new system, and the data you're sharing is highly secured. Now, you're going to be emailing and titles, and that to me is way riskier and a lot more work on your part.
Oh yeah, it's a pain. It really is.
Yeah.
But, well, I was just going to throw that out. I actually talked to David Owens about this over at NASTIC, and yeah, he's like, I never heard of that before.
Nobody has.
And I guess That's just it. It's so new.
I just had this call on Friday, and here's what happened. Somebody reached out to me on social media, somebody that I've interacted with, and I kind of know what they do, but I've never spoken to them. We've never directly communicated. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got something I think you really need to see." And it's a company that's putting together this kind of technology. Again, not what we're talking about here. Um, Targeted to the very small carriers all the way down to the owner operator. And most of this is being built for the bigger companies. They're already doing this. Many of them have been doing this since AI hit. This company specifically is building something for the smaller market, and that's why they reached out to me. He contacted me on X Friday morning while I was on the air. And when I kind of got off the air and saw what this was all about, I immediately reached out and said, I'd be willing to get on a Zoom call today, Friday. And we made it happen in about 30 minutes. And then 15 minutes into the Zoom call, I said, guys, do you mind if I stop and get my business partner, Aaron, on? He's our tech guy. That's how much potential I saw. And
okay,
we got on that call, and it's all I've been thinking about and working on. And before I reach back out to them, I'm just verifying everybody and everything involved. I just want to make sure everybody in this is legitimate, and I'm pretty sure they are, but never hurts to leverage my partnerships like Truck Stop and Brent and David. My next call today will be to David Owen at Nastic and his tech partner in their software, because I want to run all this by them as well.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do nowadays. I mean, it is, and it's a fraud has become a big problem in the last few years. I mean, I get that, but
it's huge, and we didn't see it coming.
Yeah, I'm just old time.
No, I get it, and I kind of try to bridge both of those worlds. I'm pretty old school. I've been at this a long time, and I think, but at the same time that I'm old school in the way we've always done a lot of things, I was writing spreadsheets for my trucks back in the '80s. So I've always kind of bridged both worlds, and I think I helped David Owen do that some. I helped Bruce do it because I really get both ways.
Yeah, I know it, but it's just
not
one of those
easy.
Things, I guess.
And especially at our age, when you're kind of on the downhill side and you're looking forward to turning off the keys. So I get it. This is a big step. It's a huge step. It's a huge step for me, and I've been involved in this kind of technology forever. But this is really, really different.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's got me kind of on the fence on a few things, but it is what it is. I mean, I get that, and the companies that I can work with, I work with, and ones that don't, I don't. But when they tell me that you got to set up with Highway to do something, I'm like, hey, this is what I got. If you guys can override it, fine. If you can't, then I guess this conversation ends here. I'll find something else. And that's pretty much what it boils down to now anymore.
Right. Right. Well, I'm going to thank you for pointing out this company, because I'm going to do a little more research and find out exactly, because it does look like they have all of the big TMSs, although everybody has a TMS now. But these are the TMSs the bigger carriers and brokers use. They've got some pretty big technology partners that I see. They're plugging into all the big email programs. It looks like they've gotten some traction with this thing.
Yeah, it's new. I mean, I would say maybe 8 months ago when I ran into it for the first time, and it's that new.
And
everybody's switching to it. Everybody's switching to it.
So think back, that was when AI kind of hit the market, and this company.
Yeah, you're right.
This company that I'm dealing with is a new startup that started about that time. They were just about 8 months ago. This is why. AI, even though, we talked about it a ton when it first came out and everybody went and played with it. And what people haven't realized is how much is going on in the background with AI. It's way bigger than anybody knows, unless you're involved with it.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I definitely am not. So, like I said, I back a lot of these people that I was working with. I set up with a fax machine. So
Yeah,
that's how
which is
old
interesting.
That
That
is.
tells you a lot.
That was new technology back then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's pretty funny actually. But you're right. This now is changing everything. And here's why I say don't fight against the reality of it. Just decide whether you want to be a partner or a part of it or not. Because here's the thing. This technology is creating things that did not exist, that we couldn't even have imagined existing. And if you're not on board, and like you said, you got one foot out the door just about at this point. If you're not on your way out and you don't figure this out, you're going to get left behind pretty quickly.
I guess I worry about my son. My son has his own authority, his own truck too, and he's really running into it bad because his truck actually is a 2000, but the VIN number comes back as a 99. He was right in that bridge year, and the E-log thing screws him up every time.
But he has the ability to have E-logs. He could choose.
Yeah, he can. Well, I could too. I got a Series 60. I could too.
Well, I will tell you this, that the advantages of running an E-log now are about 25 times bigger than not doing it. That's not an exaggeration. I get it. You don't want to be monitored like that. Those days are over. Like you're almost out. Your son, though, really, you should talk to him and say, don't fight this. Now, it doesn't mean you just, every time somebody says you can't do that either. You've got to do the due diligence, and I'm doing that. And if people want to, ask me questions, I'll go research companies. In the coaching program, I'll go as deep as you want on this. But I am getting heavily involved with it. Whether it's going to be this particular company that I'm talking to now, I don't know that yet. But there is no doubt we are moving forward to be a part of this because it enhances everything we do.
Right. And the bottom line is you got to stay with the times, but man, that's hard.
Well, were you listening to the show all day today?
I was. Then I lost phone contact. Then it went back, and then by the time I caught back up, Brent was just leaving. That's why I quick called back in.
Yeah. Now remember, the lesson today was about doing hard stuff.
Oh yeah.
And all the benefits of doing the hard stuff if you do it right. And I'm kind of going to be here to help the owner operators and the small carriers integrate this stuff and do it right and get the advantage of it and minimize the potential risks.
Right. But no, that's all I needed, Kevin. I was just kind of curious. You're going to throw that out there and see if you had heard about it, Brent had heard about it, if there was goods, bads, uglies, that kind of stuff. I mean,
all of the above. Yes. There's all of
pretty
that.
much. That's kind of that's kind of the consensus that I'm coming up with. But anyway, no, that's all I needed, Kevin. I do appreciate you, brother.
You're welcome. Call me back if you get a chance to think about that and you have some other questions. Give me a call back. It's a lot to take in, really is. Let's go to New Mexico. Sarah, good morning.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Lisa says,
I sent you
thank you
screens
for that awesome, what do you call that? What's the?
I guess a sweater robe, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say a sweater, but it's more than a sweater. It's beautiful, by the way, and I can't imagine how much work that was.
It only took about a month and a half in between loads.
I figured that it's beautiful, and like I said, that's crocheted, right? Tells you how much I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's right.
That has to be very calming, though, right? Once you get good at it.
Yes. Yes, it is a stress reliever for me to sit and crochet.
Good, good.
Speaking of stress relief, that's why I called. I sent you 2 screenshots. I kind of split screened them so you could see the overnight. The first one with all the bright orange and the low 5 score was Friday night.
Okay.
We had left our vacation in Michigan and driven around the lake in Ohio up to Buffalo. And I had quite a bit of snow-covered roads, whiteout conditions, and I wasn't thinking about breathing. I was watching the road and thinking about driving. And you can see it was and then about 1:30 in the morning we parked and slept for a few hours. So I recovered pretty good little recovery shot there. So the next night after we loaded and we headed south towards Nashville to go around and south of the current storm, while I was driving, I did some box breathing with an added twist.
Okay.
I did a little vagal nerve tuning or training.
Yeah.
I forget what it's called. Breathe in, hold your breath, and then on the breathe out, you hum.
Right.
In such a way that it vibrates your neck and chest and head,
the vagal nerve,
a
right.
deep hum. And so we were ahead of the storm, dry roads. It was cold, but I didn't really have anything else going on. So I was just breathing in and out and just a low hum. And
what a difference.
I actually recovered a lot of my battery while I was driving.
That's almost...
It looks like the sleep the night before.
It's almost unheard of in my experience of doing this to build any body battery while you're awake, much less while you're awake doing something stressful. That's pretty incredible.
So I did it last night too. I just wanted to, breathing is powerful and stuff like that, but you can also add that hum to the out breath.
I gotta try that.
It also helped clear. I was a little bit stuffed up. It helped clear that. But mouth closed, breathe in, hold it, hum out, and hold it, and then just keep going. It was very calming. And like I said, I actually built my battery while I was driving.
That to me, like I said, if I'm awake, there is no building the battery. The best I might be able to do is relax and read and not lose any. I don't believe I've ever built any while I'm awake. So that to me is just incredible that happened.
I was wondering, did you see if you built battery while you were playing the video games, or is that a while ago? You can't go back and check.
It was too far.
Because you said your stress had dropped to 0.
Dropped to just about nothing. Yeah, I'd have to. I'll retest that again because I'm back to doing a lot of testing. I just got done wearing the continuous ketone monitor.
How did that go?
I learned absolutely nothing.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's a bummer.
I've kind of said I don't get the whole ketone thing, and I was really hoping the continuous it's almost like there is a pattern that my body follows. Maybe it's because I'm doing mostly the same stuff every day, but the only thing that really seemed to enhance it somewhat was the sauna blanket. The problem is I had to do it every day, and I can't. If I do it every day, I can't stay hydrated no matter how hard I try. By the third day, I am so dehydrated that I just can't keep up. And if I don't do it every day, then it wasn't having any impact on my ketones. If I did it every day, I was building higher and higher. I was getting up over 2, which is outrageous for me. But it had to be every day, and the everyday thing in the blanket just wasn't working. So it
Right.
my ketones tend to follow a pattern that I bet would almost match my cortisol. So
I would bet too.
it starts building
That
early
would
in the
make sense.
morning, then peaks later in the afternoon, and then starts dropping in the evening. And there are a couple of things. Mind Fuel does it. It doesn't change the pattern. It just makes the pattern a little bigger. And that was the same thing with the blanket. Didn't
Okay.
really change the pattern, just made the numbers a little bigger. But the pattern seemed to be almost stuck like a melatonin cortisol kind of pattern.
Maybe it's not stuck. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's
It
just how
could
your
be.
body's supposed to be.
Could be, and if that's the so I'm gonna take a couple weeks off, and I'm gonna work on a couple other things, and then I'll probably call Brad in Canada again and say,
Mhm.
"Hey, Brad, can you give me one more of these things? I'm gonna try one more time," and then I'll be ready to try a lot of experiments. I'll kind of set them up ahead of time.
Maybe,
This time I didn't know what to expect, and so I may give it another
yeah,
shot.
maybe like a lot of other things in our bodies, enzymes, everything, our ketones have a circadian rhythm.
Seems like it does. That was the one thing I was able to notice is how consistent the pattern was every day.
Very
Now,
good.
the
I'll be interested to see what happens when you do set up specific experiments and test that.
yeah, the one thing that you can wipe out the pattern with is just carbs.
Right.
If you eat enough carbs
Because your
and
body switches.
it didn't take all that much, then the pattern just disappears.
Right.
Which makes sense. We know that's how this works. If your body has carbs, it will burn them, and until it gets rid of them all, it's not going to produce ketones.
Right, and that is that. And if you drink alcohol, that's burned first because that's the dirtiest fuel.
That's a good point.
Our body gets rid of the dirtiest fuel first.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm sure alcohol would have made a disaster of the whole pattern, but I finally made the decision. I just gave up alcohol for good.
Okay.
Yeah, I find it just wasn't. It didn't make any sense anymore. I was doing it once in a while, and then when I would travel, I'd be out to dinner with people, and I'd say, "Oh yeah, I'm traveling. I'm out to dinner. I'll have wine." Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. And I quit before I got the ketone monitor, so I wasn't going to test it and break it just for that. So, but I'm pretty sure I could.
Right.
You're right. It would. I'm sure it would just wipe out the pattern and make a mess of it. It would have to because it makes a mess of my blood sugar.
Mm-hmm. I wonder. So they have the continuous ketone monitor. We can't get that in the States yet unless you go through someone else. I wonder if they're going to have a continuous insulin monitor available anytime at all. That would be very interesting.
I kind of doubt it because as of right now, you can't do insulin with a finger stick. I mean, you have to have a full blood draw to do insulin.
Okay.
So until they figure out
that was easier.
It would be awesome if we could get a continuous insulin monitor. Absolutely. But that's the reason we can't even measure it at home with a finger stick. It requires a full vial of blood to test for that.
Okay. Oh, one other thing. Did you listen to that interview with Tucker had with the guy whose name started with a B that somebody called in about on, I think it was Butler. Somebody called in on Thursday.
I hadn't yet, but
I listened to that this morning. Blow your mind nuts.
Thank you for the reminder because when I got it, I opened the tab in my browser and I left it open so that when I get off the air today, I can go listen to it.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about that one on Wednesday.
Yeah, it looks like it's like an hour and a half long.
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes,
but I'm working on my my new motto for the year of the Navy SEAL model. Slow is smooth and smooth is
Slow is
fast.
smooth.
Yeah.
Smooth is fast.
So I'm taking more time.
I like that.
I do too. So I'm taking more time to do things like this that are important and not trying to rush through my day.
Good. Yeah, we'll call back on Wednesday or something, and we got to chat about that.
Yeah, Wednesday, I got to look.
It's a pretty substantial.
I'm almost hoping I don't have a guest on Wednesday. I'm not sure if I do or not, because I've got so much health-wise I want to talk about.
Okay, I'm looking forward to the first health show of the year.
All right.
Don't forget, when you breathe out, hum.
Oh.
And we'll talk to you later.
You know what else I'm doing? I just ordered it today. It'll be here tomorrow. 2 things I'm adding to my routine, both because they're so easy. I don't know why I wasn't doing this before. Hold on. I'm finding out if I have a guest. I do have a guest.
Who is it?
Dr. Jane Durst Polkes. I'm glad I asked. Okay. I better do some research. I don't remember.
I'll have to look that up too.
No, I'm excited about this one. She wrote the cookbook Metabolic Kitchen.
Oh, okay.
And I believe
I got that. I haven't looked through it yet, but I got that one.
I believe her specialty is like balancing hormones with females. That's a topic I need some help on.
Me too. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, so that should be good. 2 things I'm adding that I don't know why I didn't do before. Mouth taping at night, because my sleep is improving, and I'm excited about that. I'm looking for any little edge I can get so I can keep it improving. Oh, and on Thursday, I've got Ted Johnson on. That's going to be fun too. This is going to be a good week. And grounding. Right. So I'm going to get a grounding mat to stand on when I do my show. I stand here the whole time. Why wouldn't I have a grounding mat here and one for bed?
That's a good. That's awesome.
I know.
That's a good point. You're always standing and walking around. Stand on a grounding mat.
Yeah, and anymore, the way I do the show, I got so much going on at the desk that I don't really wander around much. So put a grounding mat here, and it's 3 more hours of grounding every day, which, in the summertime, it's not that big of a deal. I spend so much time outside barefoot in the summertime, but in the wintertime, I get some outside time barefoot, but not much at all.
Okay.
All right, Sarah. Well, we will.
Sorry, we're maneuvering off of base. We'll talk to you on Wednesday.
Yeah, call on Wednesday. We'll talk to you then. All right, I'm going to wrap this up for today. I do want to let you know, CMC signups are open. We have a limited amount of space in the live event. If we get enough, I'm going to say something that I'm not sure of, but my team will correct me if I'm wrong. If we get enough early signups, maybe we could go back and negotiate some more space. We're kind of locked in on our space, and I'm sure we're going to fill it. But if we fill it early enough, maybe we could negotiate for some more. I'm not sure yet. The year-long program, which happens after Mats, so we kick it off at Mats with the live day-and-a-half program. Then we go the rest of the year. You can do one or the other. You don't have to do both. I certainly recommend both. The year-long program is unlimited. I can fit as many people into that program as we need to. If I have to expand the ability to have more people on that, I can. You don't want to miss it this year, even if you've been to it before. This is a whole new program now. And with some of the recent partnerships we've created, I am really excited. So we've got a lot of the new material written already, and things are happening so fast, I got to go back and redo some of that. So I am very, very excited about the CMC. Get signed up. You can head to our website, letstruck.com, and you'll find registration there. You can also register directly on Matt's site. So if you want to go to Matt's, that is truckingshow.com. Truckingshow.com. You can. Messages coming in everywhere. Tomorrow we do have a CMC virtual event tomorrow because it's Tuesday. We're back to work after the holidays. What was I saying? Sign-ups. What else? I got distracted there for a second. Get signed up. I'd love to see you at the live event. I'd love to be a part of your business the rest of the year in the virtual event as well. So head on over to our site, letstruck.com, or go get signed up for Matt's itself. Get registered for that, and you can sign up for the CMC on the Matt site itself, truckingshow.com. All right, we will see you back here tomorrow for the Power Hour. Be safe, be profitable, be fit and healthy. Always do the hard work and master the journey.